Okay. Okay, yeah, it started. Okay. Welcome to your interview. So I'm going to be asking you three questions today. The first one is, tell me about a time you were in a challenging workplace situation and what was the situation and how did you get through it?
That's a good question. So, a time that it was challenging during work in the workplace was a time that I was working as a dietary aide. And as a dietary aide in my facility, we have two dining rooms, and we usually have like three staffs that are going around in the dining room and serving the residents. And one day we were down to staff members, and there was going to be three of us in one room and possibly one in the other dining room. So, in order to fix this problem, because one of us was only going to be able to serve in one of the dining rooms, and if only one of us is going to be able to do that, then the residents aren't going to be able to get their food on time and it's going to be cold, and it would not be a great situation, especially in the dining room and as for the residents. So I decided to be that staff member that will balance in between each of the dining rooms to allow for anyone that needs additional help. I can help in each dining room for a couple minutes at a time so one of us doesn't get behind than the other one, because we do have two different sections. One is like the main, and the other one is for those who are going through physical therapy. So I just balanced in between, and we got through the morning shift easily through that. So I believe that's one part where I had a really challenging situation in a workplace, and I just thought of a good resolution of myself just working in between, and then that's how we got through it, and we had a very successful dining shift.
That's a great answer and great of you to put yourself out there and take on more work to better your environment.
Thanks.
Um, what are some of the most rewarding coaching experiences you've had in the dietetics field?
So I recently just had my outpatient nutrition rotation during my dietetic internship, and I worked with the Sadler Health Center over in Carlisle, PA, and I actually got to work one-on-one with patients alongside my preceptor. So I was able to watch my preceptor, and because I was there for 5 or 6 weeks, I was actually able to see my own patients for the second time. And the most rewarding part about seeing your patients for the second time is seeing those patients who take your advice and they improve. So, if their blood sugar lowers and improves, their weight lowers, or they're overall just eating better, I think that's a really good positive thing. And I was really excited to see my patients again and seeing their overall experience improve. And that was just very rewarding to see that.
Awesome. Sounds like a great experience. How would you manage a patient who is refusing to follow your recommended diet and nutrition advice?
Hi. So I first begin by simply just asking them if there's any barriers, or just asking them some open-ended questions to learn a little bit more about why they're potentially refusing my nutrition advice or just the diet that they were given at the hospital or just at the outpatient center, and just asking them, is there anything because of costs, the living situation, or overall not having the insurance to cover the services or the diet that they were recommended. Based on these answers, that's how I'm going to do with my next step, is just potentially starting off with some smaller goals rather than taking like such big steps in their process and completely changing a diet, or just giving large nutrition advice. Maybe start really small with goals and ask them what they potentially can start at first and see how they take control instead of me just offering nutrition advice, see what they would want, because it's all very, very individualized based on the patient and what they need. Again, just validating their feelings and understanding that it may be hard to afford the type of diet that I recommend them. And again, just ask them if they're ready to change and how they would do that. And then again, just building rapport and trust with this patient, because in the outpatient setting, I might see them again. And due to them not refusing the diet or just overall just not taking the nutrition advice, I want to see them a little bit regularly, just because we're starting with those small goals and we want to build them a little bit up. So that's how I would address this patient.
Awesome, thank you. So now that we went through all of those questions, this was a great interview, and I think you'd be a great candidate for the job. I would like to offer you $60,000 as a starting salary. Um, yeah.
So thank you so much for the offer. I really appreciate that. And I'm really excited for the opportunity to work with you guys. But based on like my background of being with over 1,000 hours of my dietetic internship and over spending 5 to 6 weeks in that outpatient center, I believe that I was looking for a little bit more. I was looking for roughly 65,000. I was wondering if we were able to negotiate a little bit. I feel like I bring a lot to the table over other people who possibly weren't even given their masters, who are only doing their dietetic internship. I did complete my master's alongside my dietetic internship. So I do have the ability to balance out a lot of majority things, and I think that I bring a lot to the table. So I was thinking that we could possibly negotiate for a possible $5,000 more. Um, with just recently being a graduate, it is very expensive paying off my loans, so I was hoping that we would be able to talk about that a little bit further.
Yeah, we can definitely negotiate.
Okay, sounds good.
I don't know what's said.
I'm just ending it.
Okay.
I feel like that was longer than